Are we live?
We are now live. So what
Are
say
we live
you?
and direct?
And direct.
Live and direct. So we're introducing a new episode
Yes. And
called
call it 30 minutes away from Cybertron.
the night drive version.
Yes.
Instead of the B side, it's the night side.
It's the night side.
And I'm driving home from work. And we're gonna talk about some stuff that are Transformer related. We're gonna talk about how people suck at driving.
Yes.
And we're gonna talk about me honking my horn because this guy didn't realize he's trying to cut me off.
As many people do within the city.
What's that?
As many
Cut off.
people do in the city.
That as well too. So right now I'm driving by my work. I'm driving by the CN Tower. I can't show you, but I'm driving by the CN Tower in Ripley's. And
Mm-hmm.
what time is it right now?
It's
It's like
10:18.
almost, sorry,
10:18.
10:18, and there's
Yeah.
still people around the CN Tower. It's a Sunday night. There's a whole bunch of people still standing there. Go home. Don't
Yeah.
you? Don't your kids have school tomorrow?
They don't have work tomorrow.
Or work? There you go, man. But they're all hanging around here.
No, they're off tomorrow. They're tourists.
I guess. Driving by the Rogers Center.
Yep.
Speaking of driving, they finally finished Minosaur. I
Oh,
think we talked about that last week, right?
let me think. I know
Yeah.
we
Oh yeah.
mentioned him.
Yeah. It was being mentioned, right? But they were talking about. Sorry, my hand is in the way because I'm gonna put up the volume a bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we were talking. Who was it again? The white wannabe Lamborghini. Well, it should have been a Lamborghini, but it's
Oh,
was that,
between Wild Rider and Breakdown.
there you go. So, but now it's out there. Who was it? Prime versus Prime. They did what's it called a full review of Minosaur,
Okay.
and they were just talking about breakdown and everything. And apparently, there's a third party out there that has the same kind of uh, form. No, not form. Oh my goodness, I can't even speak. This is a problem when you're driving. You got to pay attention.
Yes.
The same engineering. There you go. Right.
Okay.
That it's basically okay. Basically, Minosaur was based on a third party. I wish D or Anthony was here to answer that question. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the same kind of engineering, right? And apparently, Amoculus or something like that. I can't remember.
Okay.
But you could take their legs and attach it to the bottom of Minosaur. It's not as tight or as accurate together, but it still kind of fits.
Okay.
So you can change the parts. So you can have like the tank and the Jeep because it's based on I think it's on Bruticus, right?
Okay. Got it.
Anoculus,
Right.
right? And so you can interchange the pieces and all that, which I thought that was pretty cool. So check out Prime versus Prime review of Minosaur. Obviously, you will see it there, and he does a pretty good job, and it actually shows the parts being interchanged.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And then they also showed what's called the Minosaur that was made in the. What was the last Minosaur that was made? It was so ugly.
I mean, I
The
can't keep
Combiner
up with them.
Wars.
Okay.
That's it. The Combiner Wars. So they kind of he did a screenshot because he didn't have it, but you can
Mm-hmm.
see the huge difference between the Combiner Wars Minosaur versus the new Minosaur that's out. What a difference!
Got it.
Night and day. Night and day. I would throw money at this new Minosaur versus the Combiner Wars one. Forget it. I will ask for my money back.
I don't disagree with that. It was just not. I mean, in terms of like the direction they went with some of the design, I'm like, that's not really Minosaur.
No, right? Like, freaking people don't know how to drive. I'm sorry, I'm starting already. How people don't know how to drive.
Good luck.
Like, seriously, stay in your lane. All right, all right. What were we saying again? There you go.
There you go.
Is that the Prime versus Prime one?
That is the Prime versus Prime one.
Yeah. So if you, okay, that's obviously the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
You actually did some nice pulses there. I'm at a red light. That's why I'm looking. If I wasn't at a red light, I wouldn't be not looking at my phone right now.
This is true.
But if you fast forward a little bit, you will see exactly what I was talking about. How he interchanged some parts of another third party combiner. So which he actually stated in the video, it'd be pretty cool how you can kind of mix and match, pieces, right? Which I think that's cool. Because
I
I
mean,
did
that
that.
is.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, that is cool. I mean, that's basically recreating the Scramble City.
Yeah. Well, don't you remember as a kid when you had your first, let's just say your first combiner, then you bought your other combiner, and you kind of like mix and match a little bit.
Yeah.
So in this particular case, you could do that, right? Which I thought that was cool.
No, that's very cool.
Yeah, sure. They got a call while I'm doing a show. What's wrong with
Of
these people?
course. That's the timing.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
wife. Are you coming home? Yes. When you coming home? Like every other time. And again, they're calling, which I'm not answering.
There you go. Just showing a bit of
Oh, there it is.
Yep,
Is that it? Yeah.
that is it.
What's it called again?
With
Starts with an R, I think.
I don't know the third party name. I only know like the G1 name for him.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying, right? I
Yeah,
thought that was pretty cool.
that is very cool.
And he actually mentioned in the video as well that there might be talks or hopes of Superion doing something very similar as well. I think it's about time Hasbro finally made some proportional combiners.
Oh, they're long overdue.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's my thing is always when are they gonna really focus on the other characters? Because it always ends up being just the same 3 or 4 that they focus on, and there's still other combiners that they seem to forget.
true. But those are the best sellers, right? Like for example, the Constructicon, like the last Constructicon that they built, the massive one, right? I actually have that figure,
Okay.
and actually that's in the video as well too. You can see the height difference between the Minotaur and the Constructicon Devastator,
Okay.
and that was actually, I think, right there that was their first combiner that they built, which was really nice.
Right.
And obviously they're gonna come out with Superion. Obviously they're gonna come out with Bruticus. Obviously they're gonna come out with Predaking, right? Predaking
Well,
for sure, right?
Well, funny enough, I mean, you say Predaking for sure.
Oh yeah,
Predaking has there's less Predakings than there is of Devastator and Minosaur. Like in comparison of how many releases there are out there. I mean, there's multiple releases of Devastator, then
yeah.
Minosaur, then some of Superion, but of Predaking, there's very few.
Because I think personally they did a really good job of doing it, and so you're not gonna have too many people buying the same Predaking over and over again.
Yeah,
And
because
then
that last one is a really nice figure.
yeah, and then sorry, I'm just looking at some cards here so I can make my turn. Yes, in Canada we're allowed to make a turn on a red light. But the thing is, yeah, but you can also buy those add-ons as well too, right?
Right.
Which makes it even nicer. So, but but obviously they're going to come up with a Predaking. The only thing that I don't like about the Constructicon and or Predaking, the individual figures, they're pretty stubby.
Oh, interesting.
They're not as posable. I'm not talking about Hasbro. I'm not talking about third party. Okay,
Hmm.
right? They're not as posable or as articulate, or it's always chunky to me, and
Okay.
with the stiff movements, right? I'm driving on the lakeshore right now, nice and
Oh, which
quiet.
which way? Lakeshore to 427?
No, I'm on next to Exhibition Place in Budweiser stage,
Ah, okay.
right? Oh, I called D.
Mm-hmm.
The funny part is he's actually is driving.
Okay. Oh, he's still driving. I
He's still
spoke to him like
driving.
hours ago. Okay.
Yeah, he's on the highway. It actually would have been it would have been cool that he was driving and you were driving as well, but unfortunately, because his eyesight's not the greatest, so he has to really pay attention on the road and it's dark, right? So
Right.
safety first.
Oh yeah.
My eyesight is okay so far, so I can do this.
So far.
All right. Oh, we're getting old, man. What do you want?
Yeah, I just got reading glasses a couple weeks ago.
Oh, how did
Yep.
that feel?
I actually don't mind because I find a lot of instructions or things print like labels. The font size I think has like decreased, which makes it really difficult to read.
I think they're doing that on purpose. I think the like the eyeglass manufacturer, and those doctors and all that, they all got in cahoots with the manufacturers and say
Hmm.
print instructions even smaller
Yeah.
so people could buy glasses.
So I mean, if I hold it far away, it looks perfectly clear, but then it's too small to read.
I've been doing that lately too.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, you just get a cheap pair of glasses, and really, it's just looking at the plus or minus rating. Or I think there's minus, but I know it's like the plus rating for the glasses. You can just get them from the dollar store. Like it doesn't have to be like anything prescribed.
So you mentioned the dollar store.
What would you find?
I find that the name should be changed
Or to like the $5 store.
to this is more than a dollar store.
This is a multiple dollar store.
Yeah, because when I got that figure that transformed for $5, and then I realized Bill can get way better transformer, actually licensed transformer figures for $5.
Yep.
Just something wrong here.
Oh, very wrong. Well, I mean, when cheap items that are only worth 50 cents, are being now sold for like $3 or $4. But there's something wrong.
I hear you. So, how was your week so far?
It's been good. It's just been the usual busy working, and that's about it.
So, should we let our viewers know what our plans, what we're trying to do for our website, and what we kind of want to start offering as well if you come to our site?
Uh,
Or should we
no,
keep it like a secret?
we'll keep it a secret. We'll we'll just let them know that things are happening in the background, or are currently happening in the background. But then we will make a public announcement of it in the upcoming weeks.
This is good, guys, girls, ladies and gentlemen of all ages. We've talked about this before in other episodes, or we mentioned it about other episodes that changes are coming, and I think they're going to be good changes. We're not talking about like a huge grand change, and we're going to be doing this super thing, whatever. But I think we're going to try to do is some good little changes that are going to help. Not just only us, but definitely people that are looking for Transformer news.
Mm-hmm.
and products as well. And you can find it in one place instead of trying to find it a whole bunch of places.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna put that all together, and then obviously with Anthony's reviews, and maybe we'll do some other types of reviews that you guys can watch or read. So stay tuned. Don't
Stay
go
tuned.
anywhere.
Stuff's happening.
Exactly. We're gonna get there eventually one day. We're
Oh
old,
yeah.
man. We're gotta take our time and do things correctly. We don't rush stuff, right?
Yeah, it's you have to find that balance because it's like we have the old school mentality of taking time doing it properly, but the world around us is it was due yesterday.
Yeah. Well, look what happened. You see, a Megatron or Galvatron took their time and thought about it.
Hmm.
When they executed their plan, it would have worked.
I mean, for Megatron, it would have worked. It's only he basically had a low intelligence army, and then a second in command that always wanted to overthrow him. Like if it were Megatron by himself, he would have succeeded.
I agree, but still, yeah, it took his time and thought about things. You know, the funny
Mm.
part is, I was actually watching GI Joe the movie the other day.
Okay, well, I
It was
haven't
on
seen it.
YouTube.
I
Yeah, it
haven't
was on
watched it in like
YouTube.
decades. Okay,
Yeah.
on the Hasbro
What?
channel.
I have no clue. All I just
Oh,
saw was GI Joe the movie, and I just like had some time to kill, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch this a little bit, right?
actually, the cartoon or one of the recent ones.
No, the cartoon one, not the
Okay.
movies, like the live action one, right? Like the actual cartoon, right?
Oh, okay. Cool.
Was Kroba la 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 la,
Yep.
right? And I was like, I was watching that, I was like, oh my goodness, this show is like really boring. It's like I'm looking at it, I'm like, this show is really for adults, man. It's not for kids.
I mean, a lot of cartoons were designed for adults and not children.
And then I'm saying to myself, we were pretty mature for our kids. Like we were pretty mature back then. How I see the kids today.
Hmm.
It's just my opinion.
I agree. It's yeah, I mean how we thought and analyzed things back then is different than what how the newer generation analyzes content.
Yeah, I was pretty amazed. I was like watching this, like, you know what? If they put this TV show, like the movie, and they did like a live version of this,
Hmm.
it'd probably be like PG-14 or like NC-17 or something.
Okay. What is NC-17 or what does the
I
NC
don't.
stand for?
Who knows, man? Yeah, I guess you
Yeah.
got to be 17 years old, and they decided to get fancy and put NC in front of it. Who knows? Any other Transformer news that have you
Uh,
heard?
I haven't looked up any of the news in the last many days.
I was trying to look at some Transform movies updates.
Hmm.
I haven't heard anything as of yet because I'm a little surprised, right? Because we're getting there, right? Because they did a whole bunch of leaks and some updates a little while ago.
Right.
And now that we're getting close to it, you want to hear a little bit more. And I'm excited, to be honest with you, right? To watch this, right? Because I've been hearing well all the other updates and past news that they said before,
Hmm.
and even those pictures that they leaked, right? I thought that would be really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to it.
But you know what? I take my stance would be more on the old school side of it, where I appreciate not seeing or hearing about leaks and all sorts of information that's coming out. Whereas like I would rather watch the movie and find out what's happening as I'm watching the movie. Whereas like in the last like decade, probably two, a lot of previews and behind the scenes and everything, you've basically watched the whole movie before watching the movie. And then sometimes,
Mm.
unfortunately, sometimes they end up showing like all the best scenes for the commercial. So when you
Yeah.
when you go watch the movie, I'm like, well, this is garbage. Like the commercial is actually better than the movie.
I'd rather see. I totally agree with what you're saying. Usually, you're right. Usually in those trailers, they show the best parts, and you're like, okay, uh, that was it. All right, next.
Hmm.
But totally agree with what you're saying on that aspect, right? But I wouldn't mind seeing a trailer, just kind of giving a little blurb or a little glimpse of what is going to come, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything, and it's like it's becoming like radio silence. So anybody watching this video, please comment below if you have any scoop. Um, Sometimes I like to check out Raging Nation with Alex there, and I'll plug out to him as well. Another Canadian boy up in Vancouver.
Hmm.
He does a lot of episodes on Transformer movies, right? And I haven't heard really much what he was saying. He's just saying almost the same thing what we're talking about right now, but just a little bit more articulate, I guess. Guys, I
Well,
want to come in here so I can get my coffee, and you're gonna come out. Like seriously, man, what's wrong with these people?
well, I think they're really keeping it tight-lipped,
Yeah, you can keep it tight
closed.
lipped, but you can say a little bit more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna do the Canadian thing here right now. I'm gonna put the order a Tim Hortons coffee. I'm
We don't
serious.
endorse Tim Hortons.
Well, I am today. Hey there.
Yeah.
Can I get a small coffee with 2 milks?
Anything else?
You have cookies?
Small 2 minutes, that's all?
Yeah, small coffee with 2 milks. Do you have any cookies?
Cookies? Oh, no, it's finished.
None?
No.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, what donuts do you have?
I just had chocolate dip and honey dip donut.
You know what? I get the chocolate dip then.
Chocolate dip donut?
Yeah, and two pack of hockey curds.
2 cards and 2 hockey cards?
And that's all.
Small 2 minutes and hockey cards?
Yeah.
And
And
the 1 donut, right?
you got it.
Sure, try it.
All right, thank you. Gotta get a
Well,
donut.
that went smooth, but that's only the first step.
Yeah, I know.
So the first stage of ordering from Tim's. The second stage is where the frustration comes in.
No, I usually get frustrated when I'm ordering because I gotta like repeat myself 20 times.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, ordering is one thing. Receiving, making sure that you actually got what you ordered is you know, it's just the easiest way to sum it up. It's an adventure. You never quite know what's gonna happen when you go there.
This is true, especially for a coffee and a donut. Hey there. How are you doing? Debit, please. All right. Thank you. Awesome. Perfect. You too, sir. All right. They did it. They did a good job.
There
Tim
you go,
Hortons did a good job.
ladies and gentlemen, on the live stream. One of the few times they, a company that used to be Canadian that is now owned by Americans, where the service has become very questionable, and every step of the process actually went flawless.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the funny part. I'm looking at their sign,
Yeah.
and one of the T in Tim Hortons, the lights off. so it's important.
Oh, they came
Right?
so close, so close.
I know. Eh? Holy. All right. Now we're back on our night drive. You know what this kind of reminds me of a little bit?
Here we go.
Remember CDTV late at
Yep.
night?
Yep.
The night drive?
Oh yeah, that's a night drive and night walk classic.
Yeah. Those are classic, but unfortunately we're doing the Children of Primus version of that, but you get to see these two beautiful mugs while I'm
So
driving, and
now,
while the other one's sitting.
now for anyone watching that doesn't understand what Night Drive and Night Walk is, this is a show I believe is from like the late '70s on one of the TV stations, and basically it's just a cameraman driving around through the streets of downtown at night, and that's it, just slowly driving around the streets. And I think there was like some music in the background, and you're just watching, almost at a viewpoint as if you're driving the vehicle. And then they had the other version, Night Walk, the same thing, just the cameraman just casually walking through the city, just
No.
passing people and them waving, and that's it.
You know what? Another thing that I miss, and I know we're supposed to be a Transformer channel, and we will talk about Transformer, but this is our after show.
Are you
And
gonna say
speaking of
Pink
after
Panther?
show,
Yes.
well, that too, but you know what? And this is going to be part. You know what? I'm going to let something slip out of the bag here, right? So we definitely want, we're going to have an after show where the content's going to be, Transformer, but there's going to be other things as well too, and that's going to be our paid version of it on Patreon, right? So,
Hmm.
but we're going to be talking about really good stuff there. So, and this is like a little glimpse, right? But do you remember Speaker's Corner
Oh yeah,
on Much
another
Music?
another Canadian classic.
Why did they get rid of that?
I mean, times changed.
What do you mean by time change? That was a
Well,
classic.
true,
A
but I
classic doesn't go out of style.
yes and no, depending on the medium, because I believe you had to pay to speak your piece in the booth, correct?
Yeah, it was like $2.
Yeah. Right now, what are we doing? And without paying for it.
You know what? I agree, but the gimmick of it,
Oh yeah,
and
the
then you get
gimmick
to
of
be
it.
on TV,
Yes, but I
right?
mean, who watches TV now?
That's a good question. Let's talk about that.
Just like I mean, initially, what was Much Music when it what was Much Music when it came out? The concept of it.
Oh, it's all music videos.
When's the last time they've done that?
Is it still called Much Music, or is it called Much TV?
No, it's still Much Music, just like MTV is still called MTV. But when has either one, you know, American or Canadian, when has either one of them showed music videos? Or when was the last time they've done that?
I have no clue.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they've done that at minimum at least 10 years, if not possibly within 20.
So here's my question to you, Mikey.
Mm.
Do they still make music videos? If you really think about it.
Oh yeah, labels. Well, actually, not even labels still make music videos. Independent artists still make music videos, but but everyone now has different mediums to push that content out.
So do you really need to make a music video?
Yes, it's a part of marketing. It's always the money. It's always the most expensive part of marketing.
I probably wouldn't even like if I was an artist today making music. I probably wouldn't even make a video. I probably just put like a camera on me and here's my song. Like it or don't like it. I'll leave it up to you or buy it.
That's a music video. There are
No, I get that, but I'm talking about like the elaborate music videos that we grew up to. Like for example, like Thriller.
Well, I mean, there's elaborate, and then there's some of the best ones. They weren't elaborate. They were exactly that concept of, we know someone who has a camera. Let's get a bunch of artists together and do some cheap editing. And I mean, really, when you look at some of the classic songs and videos, it was literally the cameraman just following around the artist. They're
Yeah,
doing their song, flip a
yeah.
few scenes. That's it. There's no graphics, no special effects. They probably got it done within like a day. in terms of editing.
So are you saying that today's music videos are like 80s music videos, but just better editing?
Well,
When I
no,
say 80s, I'm talking about like more like I should say more like 70s because that's when they started to do kind of video like music videos, right?
right. Well,
So
editing.
speaking of, sorry, go ahead.
Mhm. Well, I was gonna say
No,
the editing is still has still been the same. I mean, you either have just cheap editing of just let's put something together and put it out there, or there's ones that do elaborate editing and effects. So those two elements still remain the same.
so I get that part. So now this is how we transition back to Transformers, right?
Hmm.
So we used to get up, Saturday morning
Hmm.
to watch our next episode of Transformers, or at the very beginning, and then later on it got moved to after school, right?
Well, it was Sundays for us, but other countries were Saturdays.
No, man, it was what are you talking about, dude? It was Saturday morning cartoon.
Fox, Transformers, Gem and the Holograms, and
That
there
was
was one
Saturday.
Sundays. The
No,
reason Saturdays were already saturated. Sunday mornings was the
that
launch of
was
Sunday mornings was Transformers.
dude. Those were the rewinds, man.
No, that was the first run. The whole reason they did Sunday mornings was because of Transformers. They didn't want to put Transformers in Saturdays because there was way too much competition.
Okay, you know what? I remember with Saturday morning cartoons, and it started off with the Muppet Babies. So here's the challenge to all our viewers that are watching this. Comment below and tell you know what, set the record straight. Was it Saturday mornings or was it Sunday morning?
Well, here's a problem. You can't set the record straight on this because now with connecting with other people in different countries and around the world, whereas like
Okay, North America people.
well, so only North American can answer.
Yes, our North American viewers. And if you are from another country, let's just say, outside of
Hmm.
North America, and what was your day? Was it Saturday or Sunday or a Friday? Because remember, our Saturday morning cartoons or
Hmm.
Sunday morning cartoons, those got transferred after school. Are we in agreement on that?
Uh, Only Transformers.
No,
Gem,
it was Transformer. It was Thundercats, Transformers, and then GI Joe.
Thundercats never came on a weekend. They were also introduced in the after school lineup.
That came out on the weekends. That
Not
came right
Thunder
after what's it called? That came after like Brave Star.
the Thundercats.
Yeah,
Not that I
dude,
recall.
don't make me drive over there. Okay.
Remember, I'm a few years older, so I kind of remember how some of the stuff played out.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, G-Force, man. That was your cartoon.
Yeah, G-Force, and again, G-Force wasn't on American channels. That was on the multicultural station. G-Force and Voltron.
Oh wait, I forgot about Voltron too. That was after school too at one point.
Mornings.
Yeah,
On what channel? I've never seen
Fox
Voltron after
29.
school. Voltron?
Yeah, Fox 29, man. And then at 1 o'clock p.m. was the Saturday Kung Fu matinee.
I think we're gonna have to. Wait, didn't you just say it was after school?
No, I'm just saying, like how it was on
Okay,
Saturday, right? Because I
right.
remember Saturday morning they
Mm-hmm.
had their cartoons,
Yeah,
and sometimes it will change,
yeah.
right? Okay, I'm on the highway now, so um, sometimes that will change, right? It had like a bit of a rotation, and then after that at 1 o'clock, or
Mm-hmm.
was it 1 or 2? Yeah, it was
Yeah, it was
matinee. So
about 1 o'clock.
yeah, and then they had the kung fu hour, right?
Yeah.
And that was on Fox 29. And then what was that guy, man? Oh, what was his name again? This is where if you had a really good antenna on your TV, people are saying antenna on TV. What are you talking about? Yeah, we didn't have cable. That came much after. That's even if
Well,
you can afford it.
I mean,
Um,
some people had cable, some of us had antennas.
yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, first it was all antenna, and then cable came after it, especially for
Right.
the people that could afford it, right?
Exactly.
I still had antenna with aluminum on it. So there was that Buffalo channel, Channel 7. And in the morning, there was that guy
Oh,
that used
Commander
to
Tom?
do, thank you, that's it,
Yeah.
right? And so you had a flip flop between Fox 29 and Channel 7 with Commander Tom.
Yeah. And Calvin is in the house, so he said Thundercats were on weekdays and weekends on Fox. And he also says the lineup were on the weekends with the new season of cartoons.
Thank you, Calvin. Fox 29.
Okay, so now Calvin, when do you remember Transformers initially coming out? When it first came out on the weekends? And what other cartoons do you recall that were within that lineup of within that weekend?
Oh, something to jump on, man, because I'm halfway home.
I'm gonna say what's up to. Let's see if I pronounce this right. Devin. Um, and he's saying is a new Transformers show coming.
Yeah, Earth Spark, whatever. I don't know.
Yes, this is true. I don't know the details. I've seen a few clips of it. It does seem a bit interesting to watch.
I'm gonna keep an open mind to that.
Mm,
Like, I'm not too crazy about having little kids. Like, see, I gotta remind myself that I'm not a little kid, but I'm still a little kid at heart.
right.
And so apparently the premise of this show is that the war is over now, and now we have like these Transformers that are not born on Cybertron, but they're literally born on Earth, right?
Hmm.
If I saying it correctly. And then these two kids happen to find them, and they have like this connection and all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm gonna keep an open mind to it. If it's really kiddish, I have my daughter, so I have an excuse to watch it.
Well, what's funny, and Devin, actually, please let me know if I'm pronouncing your name properly, but Devin from YouTube says Transformers Prime is number one. Um, Now, funny enough, as we're describing Earthspark is almost a few elements of Prime and G1. Because when Prime came out, it's at first I'm like, okay, they've kind of got the Bayverse inspired designs in here, and
Yeah,
it's a slightly different storyline. But then the further I got into it, I'm like, Prime is actually a really amazing storyline. And I
yep.
mean, I only put G1 first because I grew up with G1, so that's still close, still
Well,
close to my heart. But out
I'm a
of all
G1er.
this, out of all the series that has come out, Prime is the one that I put right next to it. Um, but now the concept of Earthspark with the war being over, um, they did that in I believe the Combiner Wars or some of the trilogies that came out, and the Megatron that they depicted in that series of like the war being over is actually the best Megatron I've seen out of the entire franchise.
Hmm.
Like he was more of the cynical type
Yeah,
of Megatron where it's just like the one essence I would say in a sense they never explained in G1 is Megatron only prefers fighting with Optimus because the two of them are on the same level,
yeah.
and it's like he really doesn't want to put the mental energy or time into fighting with anyone else because they're not worthy of him.
That is true. The thing was, the machine, the Transform, what's it called, Machina, trilogy.
Yes.
I like that Megatron because it kind of continue the G1 a little bit elements because they're like going back to Cybertron and
Yeah.
kind of finishing up the war there, right?
Yeah.
And I like that Megatron there. And there was actually a little bit more action, even though the Machina ones they were like what 10 minutes, 15 minutes long,
Yes.
right? You know, in those 10, 15 minutes, you can only do so much, and you can only tell so much, and the action as well too. You can only be so much, right? So
Right.
I thought that I agree with you in that aspect, right? But I still like that Megatron Prime.
Yeah, I mean the Megatron in the Prime series was done really well,
Yeah.
as well. Saying a bad sentence there, and Devin from YouTube did say I'm pronouncing his name properly, so thank you. Um, or I guess he should be saying thank you. But I found the Megatron in the trilogies just I guess you would say an elevated version of the Prime Megatron, where it's just like now we've matured the character, the fact that like the war is over. How does he interact with everyone now?
Well, and kind of going back to what we were saying about the cartoons that we grew up and actually watching, and I just mentioned about the GI Joe movie, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, those characters were well done,
Yep.
and I was really surprised with the Transformer Prime because it was still kiddish, but it was also a little bit mature. It had a good balance.
Yes.
The I can't remember if it was the Cyber Universe or what's it called, Cyberverse or Cyber Universe, the one that was supposed to kind of follow up Transformer Prime, but it was a different way
All
of
right.
doing it. I didn't like that. That was too kiddish,
Yep.
and it was the
Yep.
same basically story over and over again, right?
Yep.
Which I was a little disappointed.
Well.
And
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to what we're talking about because Devin brought up a good point, and we kind of went off on that tangent, right? So good on Devin for doing that to us, which is I like that. But going back to the point where we were talking about Saturday mornings and all that kind of stuff, well, let's get back to that. So what were you
Mm-hmm.
saying about that, Mike?
Um. Sorry. Which or how are you asking the question?
Well, you know how we were talking about like Saturday mornings and okay, so it has to go with back to TV and watching watching TV and what kids are watching today in a sense because everything
Right. Right.
online, right?
Right.
So do you find that because kids have access, I shouldn't say kids, but in general, everybody have
Mm-hmm.
access to all these shows
Yep.
and can watch a whole series
Yep.
within like in a couple of hours. Do you prefer that versus the days that when we were growing up? And
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I'm just making a turn here. When we were growing up, we had to wait for that week, and we had
Yep.
to that whole anticipation of
Mm-hmm.
waiting for that episode to come. And then during that week, I personally remember talking to my buddies, hey man, did you see that episode?
Yep.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. What do you think is gonna happen in the next episode? So it got us talking about it, right?
Yeah. It's the word of mouth buildup. It's free marketing.
Right. But even though that whole anticipation, that whole excitement, because it kind of
Mm-hmm.
goes back to what you're saying about the movies and the trailers. So
Yep.
I'm trying to wrap everything all up here, right?
Yep.
So what do you think? Do you think, or what's your opinion, or what do you like? And even viewers that are watching right now, make give us your opinion. Like, do you like the fact that with technology today, we have everything at our fingertips and we can watch a whole season within an hour? I'm exaggerating a bit, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you like the fact that you had to wait a week?
Well, I mean, the problem with me with any topic, I'm able to see both sides of it, which sometimes puts me right on the fence. But
Get off the
here's
fence, man, and pick a point, man.
Well, here's the thing, because we're content creators, we can't we can and can't go with the old school concept where it's just like, because the world has changed. But going back in the day, I prefer, like, even now, in a sense, even now, like, with shows that I'm watching, I watch maybe 1 or 2 episodes a day, and I put it off for like a few days because I want to build that anticipation. I'm like, I don't want to sit and watch the entire series all at once. Then it's like I'm done, and I'm like, well, okay, not what I got to do, So it's like I look forward to watching another episode, um, and it's funny now that you're driving.
Yeah.
People on the road kind of do the same thing, where it's like you get a lot of new drivers, and some semi-new drivers get so used to the bad style of driving that they've normalized it. That now, you tell someone what you're doing is kind of illegal. They're like, no, it isn't. Everyone's doing this. And I'm like, right, you think it's fine because everyone's doing it. So in terms of, like, back in the day, we had like the Fox, ABC, NBC 29, and you had to wait till like Saturday morning or Sunday morning for those cartoons, because we never had after school cartoons. Now you had the after school cartoons. You look forward to, like, after school, you gotta run home, catch that episode of like Transformers, Thundercats, and you look forward to it.
Oh, sorry, man. When anybody says Thundercats, I gotta go. Oh.
But funny enough, I think recently, I believe it was Netflix or someone else, they were saying they want to introduce new shows where it's like they're putting out like a season weekly. They're putting out episodes weekly, and instead of putting the whole series out at once. The newer generation are now complaining. Then it's like, well, now you guys suck. Like, I want to watch like the entire season all at once. But do you realize how much work that puts on the people creating these shows, as opposed to, they created like 30, 40 episodes per season. They're going into
Well,
work every week creating an episode, whereas like now
I'm
you've
dark.
got to create the entire season all at once.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I know Disney Plus is doing that with their like Star Wars and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's you get to wait for a week to watch that. So I'm gonna answer the question now in a sense.
Mm.
I like the fact that I gotta wait a week,
Yeah.
and the reason why is this is because you kind of hit the nail on the head there. That once you watch the whole season in one day, like, what am I gonna watch next now?
Yep.
And then you watch everything in one day. You wasted the whole day that you could have did other things productive, and you watch all your shows, and now you got nothing to watch, and you're bored out of your mind.
It's true.
Right?
It's true.
So I'd rather have that anticipation and talk about it, comment about it, and have like, hey man, what do you think is gonna happen next week, right? Kind of discussion.
Yep.
And I prefer that. Personally, I prefer that. I don't want to watch the whole entire friggin' thing in one shot. And that, you want to know something? That happened to me with a couple of shows. And then I was bored out of my mind. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. And a few comments from some of our newer viewers. Welcome Charles from Facebook, and he says it's nice to have the week to daydream what's going to happen. And I mean, just think about like back in school, where it's like we watch whatever shows on, like, like when we had the big Thursday night lineups. Friday morning in school, we're all talking about our favorite parts of the show, looking forward to the next Thursday night.
I'm gonna cut you. I'm just gonna stop you for 2 seconds. I got home, but because we got into a really good conversation, I'm just gonna drive around my block.
Why not? Do a little street patrol.
Yeah, so I'm doing exactly. I'm gonna do the neighborhood watch right now.
So
okay,
Devin,
everybody's okay.
Devin from YouTube.
Yeah.
Devin from YouTube says, I think more shows on streaming services should wait release week release weekly. I'm a refer to Stranger Things. As much as I love watching it all at once, I think the world would benefit from the anticipation of episodes releasing weekly to where fans can get excited for next week's, talk amongst each other, and it help with how people talk about the show because it's hard to remember everything that happened.
I agree.
Eh,
Because you
you
know
know,
what? Here's the thing. I don't mind that it's on like it's online. Let's just say like for example, there's some YouTube channels that they do the reviews of the show, right? And then they look at all the Easter eggs and stuff like that,
right.
and they talk about all the little tiny things that you probably missed, right? I like the fact that I can go back and watch it right away, and then look for those things that they mentioned. And you're like, oh wow, now I get it, right? That I don't mind having access like that right away. That's cool. But I think even with our own show, right?
Right.
We've done it every Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and I think subconsciously we purposely did that because of the fact that we grew up watching a weekly program or a weekly show or a weekly sitcom, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you know what? We're busy during the week, yet we have other jobs, obviously, and we got family that we got to take care of, and and this is our downtime to do this, right? But I like the fact that we have the whole week for you and I and Dee or Anthony, to talk about what we did last show, right?
Yeah.
And what could we do for this show and how we can improve it. Like for example, today we weren't going to do a show because Anthony and Dee and I was finishing work late, and you know what? That gave us you and I an opportunity to talk, right? Because we needed to talk about what we're going to do for the website and everything. And then look what happened. Boom. Here we are. We're doing a show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So imagine we were doing a show every single day.
Yeah, that's work. That's a job in itself.
Yeah, but what do you talk about every single day? Like, you know what? I'm gonna sound really horrible what I'm gonna about to say.
No,
First of all,
you go with it.
no,
I'm
I was
probably
kind
gonna
of
go.
repeating myself here for.
Okay.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I was just saying, like, stop. I'll stop. Or what do you want to do?
Okay, no, you say what I was saying. I was just gonna say, I'll probably what my mindset is may match with what you're saying, but you go ahead first.
Okay. So no, I was just making fun of myself because I said about what I was about to say. So shit. Now what am I about to say? I think I lost track. No, okay. This is where it's gonna sound horrible, right? There's so much Transformers you could talk about. I think we kind of cover our bases, right? About the lore, the canon, about all the figures, how many times they made the figure. But the good thing is that, we talk about this once a week, right? And so it is different. There is different topics, or we can definitely find topics to talk about.
Oh yeah.
And then people could comment and say, hey, you know what? I was listening to what you guys were saying, and we were thinking about this. It kind of reminded me of that. And then we could talk about that, what they talked about, right? Which is a good thing. But if we had to do it every single day,
No.
dude, that's hard, man. That's taxing.
And again, going with the generation, with the world changing, there's a lot of channels that create videos every single day, and a lot of their content is what I call basically like the Seinfeld generation of content, where the whole concept of the Seinfeld show was just a show about nothing.
About nothing, yeah.
And there's a lot of channels out there the content is really about nothing. Just we've turned on the camera and we're just talking complete nonsense for like an hour, and everyone's
Mhm.
following us with listening and subscribing to that nonsense. And you really do, like, you really analyze a channel. I'm like, I didn't learn anything from this. No one learned anything. Nothing happened. That's just what people follow.
No, I agree. I agree. But here's the thing: the cool thing about our viewers and the people that join and make comments, right? They're engaging in what we're saying, so it actually helps us. So
Oh
we are
yes.
talking about something, right? And again, it just kind of recapping everything and going back to the genesis of this whole conversation, right? Yeah, it is about Transformers. We're going to talk about Transformers because we love Transformers, and we want you guys. When I say you guys, I mean like us and our viewers, right? Within that week, to wait for our next show to happen and say, hey, you know what? From your last show, I was watching it, listening, and hey, right? I'm kind of repeating myself here, but the whole point is that's what I like about watching any kind of program, like any kind of shows, is that once it come out weekly, it's a good thing because you're excited to watch versus watching the whole thing all at once,
And
and then you're done. And where's your interest now?
exactly. And
And
also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna finish off, and let's just say I watched everything and you haven't. What happens then? How are we gonna talk? I can't say
Right.
nothing to you until you finish the whole thing. And
Yeah.
then from there, just to finish my point, is that now that I gotta wait for you to watch it, I gotta wait on your timeline, right?
Right.
And I'm like, great. I watched the whole thing. This guy probably watched one episode maybe every 3 weeks or something like that.
Yep.
And like, how are
Yep.
you gonna talk and engage?
Yeah. Like you're limited. I mean, the same thing happened with when you guys told me to watch I forgot the name of the show because again, I watched the entire thing all at once. Somewhat all at once.
Yeah.
But the superhero show.
Oh, I'm just gonna put. I got home. I did my. Oh, sorry. The boys.
The
Um,
Boys.
yeah. So I
Yes.
got
So
home. I did my neighborhood watch. I did my good deed. Nobody stole any pumpkins. There's no break-ins, which is good.
that's good.
Yep. So there you go.
There you go.
I had to put my light on because it's like I was like super dark. Let me
Oh
see if
yeah.
that's better. So there's not too much of a glare. Is that okay?
Actually, with the light back on's better.
Is that better?
There you go.
Or should I is this one better?
Both.
Both. Okay. Well, you know what? We're gonna wrap it up soon, right? Because I just got home.
Yes.
And so,
Yeah.
what time did we start it? Like at 10:15?
Something like that. So we've been on 58 minutes. I mean, we said we were going to do 30, so we have about 2 minutes left. So before we end, Devin said a good point. Sorry, Devin from YouTube says good point. Releasing episodes weekly would help lifespans of shows greatly. Stranger
Yep.
Things hype lasted about a month or so because you run out of things to say. If they were released weekly, it would stretch. And then Charles from Facebook said, "Did you see that squirrel?"
I did. I did, and you know what? I stopped.
Nice.
So, PETA,
Well,
be proud of me.
one thing I was gonna say a few minutes ago in terms of in terms of shows that are just getting pushed out quickly, at least shows that that fell under the weekly schedule. What worked for Prime and a few other shows that I've watched that didn't work for G1 or that G1 didn't do is having a plot in an episode, having a plot and having an episode plot which ties in with the season plot, which ties in with a series plot. Once you have all of those three elements tied in together, it tends to make a really great show. Whereas like if you have a show where it's just episode to episode is just completely disconnected and it's just almost random whatever happens.
Yeah.
If if the actors and whatever's are good, and I mean sometimes it still ends up being a great show, but it's not as engaging as like, well, here's this overall plot that's happening in the entire series that we have to wait at least a few seasons to see how it plays out. We have to wait within the one season to find out how even this part plays out. And it's like hints within every episode. Like that's how you build something.
You know what? I totally agree. And I'm going to even prove your point. When Transformer Prime was on, when they finished off, the big battle on Earth.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Transformer Prime, I highly recommend it, but it's been out for so long now. It's been like, almost a decade? So I'm going to mention the ending of the first series of it. When Bumblebee died, right? That's where it ended, right? On that episode.
You're almost refreshing me because I don't remember details of the series because I only watched it once.
Okay, so Bumblebee died, and when Bumblebee died, that was like, what? Right? Because it was a really great battle, and actually the graphics in there was phenomenal at that time, and you know what? It still holds up today, right? So
Right.
I really highly recommend for you to, at least if you're not going to watch the whole series, at least watch that episode, right? It was really emotional. Like I even got choked up on that part, right? It was like once he died, you're like, what the hell happened here, right? And for that whole week of me thinking about like, for that next episode, like what the hell, like is like what's going on here? It got me really excited because it's like I can't wait now. It's like it's Monday, it's Tuesday, it's Hump Day, man. We're almost there, right?
Yep.
And if it was like again like how Netflix Transformer, it's like, oh, okay, now I can watch it. Oh, that's what happened. Oh, okay, all right, cool. He survived, but it was Megatron that died at the end. All right, so it was like that's how I think that's how I would have. Actually, that's what did happen. That's what happened back 10 years ago when I was anticipating to watch that episode, the next episode, just to finally see what the hell happened there, right? And I was like so happy, right? Like shocked and awe, and I was like, wow, cool, right? Versus if I had to watch it today in the same format as Netflix Transformer, right. I don't think I would have felt I don't think I would have that emotional attachment to it like I did with Prime.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
You're just kind of taking in the whole series all at once, and so it doesn't give you time to reflect on what happened.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of reflecting on what happened, like I told you, I just got home. I'm gonna go in because if I stay out here,
oh yeah,
I'm gonna get the wife calling saying, where are you? I thought you were supposed to be home by now, and blah blah blah, right? But I think we did a pretty good job. We said we were gonna do it for 30 minutes. We just did it just over an hour. And maybe this could be a pretty cool theme going forward. Call it the after party night drive or night rider. The night rider. There you go. Are we gonna get claimed for that? You think YouTube's gonna copyright us?
Well, I mean, if we just go around calling ourselves, Knight Rider, Flintstones, Scooby Doo, and just the A Team, like just use every name possible and see what happens.
Well, your name is Michael, and my name is Michael, and we call ourselves Knight Rider.
Yeah.
they can't claim us on the Michael part. I don't know about Knight Rider.
No, they can't claim us on the Michael part.
Okay, so at least we can do the. Maybe this could be a theme where one night we're all driving around and just call it the Knight Rider show.
Yes.
You know,
So
and have like these amazing conversations, right? And again, we did talk about Transformers. We did add other elements, but this is a bit of a snippet what we want to do on our page side of things. And the only reason why we're doing this page side is because we want to get better, and the only way we're going to get better is that we can, you know, afford to get better equipment and all that kind of stuff, right? So we kind of need your help in that aspect, but we'll talk about that at a later time.
So before we end off, Devin says, "Oh no, he was revealed to be alive some episode," which I believe he's referring to Bumblebee or Megatron from the Prime series. And Charles says, "Cartoons now are so quick and seems shallow." Thanks. And I mean, a lot of things nowadays are really just designed to be like, just quickly put it out there, no thought or, you know, emotions or anything behind it, and that's it.
But I find that now it's like, you know, who gets it out there first? It shouldn't be like that. It should be quality versus quantity.
Oh, I mean, this will be for a whole other night episode, because I mean, news and a lot of media does the same thing, where it's just basically, you know, here's an event that happened, someone recorded it, quickly write up something and put it out there and be the first one to put it out there. No
Yeah,
checking,
but we don't know.
don't spell check, don't you know, validate the content or anything.
Yeah.
Just be the first one to put it out there and get the views. That's all it is.
So,
You know,
but here's the thing. So here's the challenge. Okay, I think we've done this already before, but you know what? It's always fun to do things again, right? And
Oh, yeah.
just to get other perspectives, right? Because you know, we have Charles and what's called and Devon here joining us today, which we want to thank you guys. And in the future, if you guys ever want to jump on, talk live with us, put a comment in there, and Spin will definitely send you a link so you can jump on and you can come on here. Because originally, what this show was all about is for people to join and talk and live as well, not just only in comment. So we're an open platform.
yeah, and thank you for Calvin as well.
Yeah, Hey, our boy Calvin. Hey, Calvin's one of our regulars
geez.
that jumps
Yes. And
right?
Charles says that he's down. So our usual time is between usually we start 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sundays, and we just talk Transformers, and you know, sometimes we veer off topic into, like, you know, just the world, cartoons, and anything that connects to Transformers. So
Yeah.
you want to join in next Sunday? Let us know, and we'll send you the link.
No, definitely. So here's a challenge to everybody, okay, that watches our show in the future. We did our ranking already with G1. You know, how would you rank things? G1, you know, Prime and Netflix. Okay, that's not really my question. My question to you is this, because we've talked about Netflix, Transformer, and Prime. What did you like best? Did you like Prime, or did you like the Netflix version of Transformers? And what did you not like?
Good question.
Okay. I'll give you an example. I like the graphics. I like the concept and the idea with Netflix Transformer, but I didn't like the fact there was just too much talking. Just a lot of talking, very slow talk, like very monotone talking as well too. And the dialogue just like I felt like I was kind of like watching, like, you know, Shakespeare here, like, you know, Macbeth or something like that, and they're just giving these long dialogues of metaphors here, whatever, right? That's what I didn't like about the Netflix Transformer. So, Spin and I would like to hear your thoughts, your opinion, your comments. And if you're also, again, when you're new to the channel, please hit like, subscribe, get that notification. Every Sunday we're here. Sometimes, we aim to start at 8 o'clock. Majority of the time we do start at 8 o'clock. It could be Spin and Anthony starting off, and then D and I will jump on, or it could be D and I starting off, and then Spin will jump on, or Bill, or Calvin, whatever cases. But at least we're here every Sunday. We try to make sure we're at 8 p.m., if not 9 or 10, but we try to do a show every Sunday to get your Transformers needs filled.
Cool. So Charles is down for joining in. So we will definitely let you know. And Devin says just stumbled upon this, had a great time. So thank you, Devin.
Awesome. Great to hear that. Also, I'm not sure if Anthony has an article for this Monday's review. If he does, great. If he doesn't, it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to tell you is hit our site at childrenofprimus.com for news and reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Our classified site part is down right now. We're just going to revamp a whole bunch of things. Like I said, we're going to revamp our website. But right now, our website is still up and running if you want to catch any news and reviews. And that's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yep. News and reviews, articles of reviews on figures by the talented Fear of Courage, and then we also incorporate other Transformers news within the website. So it's almost like the one-stop shop for Transformers.
Yeah, and watch our videos. We just did last week. We did our TFCom Chicago.
Yes.
And so, if you want to catch up on that, go to our YouTube channels, and you'll definitely see what happened in Chicago. There was TFCon, and the great Peter Collin as well too is on there. Mm-hmm. So, thank you very much for our Knight Rider episode.
Yes.
We won't play the theme in the background because we're gonna get probably copyright on that. So
that's a copyright issue.
There you go.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Peace. Thank you, Charles, and see you and everyone next week. Peace.